NASCAR this weekend, next weekend. He feels like that he's probably the favorite. He's not going to go out there and talk about it because he's not locked. He's got work to do tomorrow. He's not going to be as vocal about it, I think, as Joey. But I think he feels that he's the favorite.
Well, I liked how he delivered the information, but I think it's factual, Rick. All these people that think Kevin Harvick knows how his race cars are built or what it sets for him are mistaken. Now, he said it a little simply, like pretending he doesn't know anything, but the simple fact is he is just the driver. And I don't want to say it like that is not a big part, but he's just the driver. Rodney Childers, Stewart Haas Racing, there's a lot of people that build these race cars, and I think Kevin Harvick is in playoff form. It was fun to watch.
And right now, no cars on the track because of this. The 97. Tanner Berryhill spins and brings out the caution. Practice back underway at ISM Raceway. And you may have noticed on the side of the cars the NBC Peacock. And you have a chance of winning that side panel with the NBC Peacock. And all you have to do is go to NBCSports.com/NASCAR sweeps. Enter to win 2 tickets to Miami for the championship, as well as, actually, that's going to be autographed by some of the NBC or NASCAR and NBC personalities. So a great keepsake, and that will go well with the memories that you will have when you watch the championship race in Miami coming up next weekend. Parker.
Oh, Rick, you're looking at the Geico restart zone there, and that's kind of the biggest change from all the changes here at ISM Raceway for the drivers. It hasn't changed how you drive this racetrack. I actually got to drive it on the Toyota Simulator a week ago, and it didn't change anything after the first lap or two. But what it has changed is the restart. So behind me, you can see the restart zone. It's right in the middle of turns 3 and 4. It's literally in the banking. And we saw yesterday in the truck race how easy it was to spin the tires even as the leader. And then you have the start-finish line all the way down here. here, and once you cross that, you can go to the shortcut. This is really crazy, and so NASCAR has decided the last 10 minutes of this practice, these drivers will be allowed to do some restart practice, which is going to be pretty cool to watch. I will say this before you make fun of me. You see that big gap between pit road and where there's O'Reilly in there? I wanted to go all the way out there, but I was told I'd probably lose my hard card if I ventured out there right now. So it's not safe right now. So I wanted to go out there to get closer, but you can see how crazy these restarts could be later.
You talk about crazy restarts. I think all eyes were on the truck race last night. Triple header weekend out here at ISM. Trucks, Xfinity, and Cup. And look at what happened last night in this truck race. This is the second to last restart. Where do you go? Harrison Burton, I love this move. Left-hand turn, easily makes it 3 wide, getting into turn 1. And then that's the apron, folks. That is not the racetrack. And then the other restart was outstanding. As crazy as the one before it, 3 wide. Harrison there is behind him. The 98 squeezes it through the middle. Look at the 16. He looks like he's coming to pit road. Nope. This is going to be the pass for the win. So impressive.
All right, let's head to the driver's booth. We talk about the changes that have taken place here. Guys, explain it to us.
Yeah, basically they flipped this racetrack upside down. So turn 1 is now down here. This used to be 3 and 4. Turn 2, turn 3 used to be turn 1 right here. One thing that's interesting, though, is the restart zone is right here, Jeff, right in the middle of the corner. So not only is it going to be tough for those first few rows, but imagine being back here in row 10. Back around this corner here trying to restart. You can't see the flagman. You're going to have to go off what your spotter tells you and what you can see the rest of the field doing.
So compared to where it used to be right there's the start-finish line in the previous racetrack, and the restart zone was back here. So you would drive into turn 3, what is now turn 3, you drive into turn 1, and that was a very tight corner. It kind of sorted everybody out by itself. Well, now with the restart zone over here heading to the new turn 1, look at all of this area that's being used. So once you go by the start-finish line, you can go wherever you want to go. If you want to go left, want to go right, do whatever you want to do. It's created all that chaos that Steve just showed us, and that starts here. So getting into turn 1 is now crazy because of everything that happened here. But, Junior, one thing we noticed last night is not only did it happen here, it carried all the way to turn 2.
Yeah, absolutely. We had trucks on the apron. You saw that in the replay of the 16 truck using the entire apron to pass for the lead right there. That puts guys in bad situations, and they are still trying to recover down this long back straightaway, and we have guys over in turn 3 here making moves and passes. Guys still not really recovered from the restart of the mistakes they've made, the positions they've been put in during the restarts, even into the dog leg of the next lap. So restarts tomorrow are going to be insane.
Yeah, the biggest issue, once you drop the green flag and you get done with all that after 2 laps, it's same old Phoenix. Not that big of a difference, but these restarts are going to have a huge role in who can win this race, all because of simply moving that start-finish line from one place to the other.
Dueling telestrating there out of the drivers.
It was kind of
masterfully done.
And it was a true duel.
Yes.
My circle's pretty smooth. Can you make one better?
Must win over here as well. Out on the track we have must win. Well, over here we got must win. Telestrating.
Yeah, 14 of Clint Boyer. I was in the garage a little bit yesterday, and he seemed almost, I don't want to say relaxed like it doesn't matter, but relaxed because he understands the situation, right? There's not 3 different paths for him to make it to Miami and race for a championship. There's one, and it's victory lane here at ISM. You see 51 points behind. It's been that bounce-back year for Clint Boyer getting those wins. I think it's a successful year just making this round of the playoffs. Of course, Clint doesn't think he's going to want to make it to that championship 4.
A little bit loose earlier for Clint Boyer.
Trying to throttle up. So important.
Got a tire going down. It ain't been like that all weekend.
As Brett Griffith talking, the spotter was talking, saying it looked like he had a tire going down, but we've seen that a lot so far this weekend, and the Cup cars especially, where early in a run, trying to get the car to rotate, trying to get the rear tires to hook up. A lot of cars have had problems. We saw that again with Clint Boyer.
saw that big loose there by Clint Boyer. His teammate, Kurt Busch, who's currently 15th right now, just came on the radio right before that at the end of his run. He seemed a little sideways there again and said, I'm too loose. I'm lacking that right rear grip on throttle, very similar to Richmond. So maybe it's something inherent in those Stewart-Haas racing cars right now.
And a flat racetrack.
Yeah, these guys will fight rear grip. But tomorrow or Sunday, they're going to be fighting turn in the middle of the corner. You know, all these guys are going to be fighting a real tight race car in the middle of the race, middle of each corner.
And the tighter it gets, the looser it gets on corner exit. You know, when it won't turn in the middle, it will never hook the rear tires up.
It is Veterans Day weekend, and at the racetrack, obviously drivers that are associated with some of the armed forces have the opportunity to do some fun things with them. The U.S. Air Force on the car for the 43 of Darrell Wallace Jr. Bubba had the opportunity to go and visit with some of the military men and women, as well as take a ride. He was doing the G drill when you're in an F-16 and trying to keep his breathing up while they were making some of those incredible maneuvers. But what an opportunity for Darrell Wallace Jr. to bring a little more light to the veterans and the men and women of our armed forces.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Rick, I'd ask you about your ride in F-16.
We could talk about it for hours.
It's only an hour practice, so we probably want to get back to what's happening on the racetrack. But,
wait, Rick took a ride in F-16? I've never heard this story.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you guys, I just love you guys. It's so much fun to be around you all the time. How about we get back to this, and let's talk a little bit about who's great right now. And it's an indicator at this racetrack when you have a guy like Kyle Busch. He knows that he's going to have to battle one of the best in Kevin Harvick.
Yeah, and we talked about the restarts, and they're going to set the tone for the race. But, guys, this is just it's a long-run racetrack. Even though it's a short race, we see 30, 40, 50, 60-lap runs here. You have to be good over the long run. You talked about how the front end of the cars normally go away. They get tight in the middle. That happens the longer you run.
Kyle Busch is 8th on overall average. Don't see him in the top 5 of either the 5-lap or the 10-lap average. Right now, 42 of Kyle Larson is on top of the 5 and the 10-lap average. He's also on top of best overall. Kevin Harvick, though, is 6th on overall average.
So do you think right now then that Kevin Harvick is the 6th best car in this practice?
I do not. I do not. He was actually out on the racetrack when we had that caution for the spin, and he has a very, very slow lap included in his lap count, so that has brought his average down. I think Kevin Harvick is probably the best car. He's obviously at the top of the board with the fastest lap. Mark Truex Jr.'s 5th overall on average.
Harvick back out on the track now.
So here's the best way to compare. You basically see lap times on the left-hand side right here. The idea is to be down low. That's faster lap time. So you have Kyle Busch in the green, Kevin Harvick. And right here is what Dale's talking about. You see this where he goes straight up right here? There's a slow lap up there where the caution came out. He didn't get to finish the lap. That's what's killing his average. But you see the laps that he runs, they're quite a bit faster than the 18. All through here, he's easily faster than the 18 out there at lap 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So the 4 of Kevin Harvick, he might not show up on your averages, but when you really break down the laps, he's much better.
If you take that lap off, that slow lap off, that moves him to 3rd overall in best average.
And the 42 would be first, the 2nd would be 2nd, and the 4 would be 3rd.
To Keselowski. The 2nd.
I'm sorry. The
second.
2 of Keselowski would be 2nd.
And we ride on board with
I'm still
Harvick.
mesmerized by the drawing we did.
As good as Harvick is, you can see he's having a hard time putting the power down off of turn 2. This place is really, really slick. It's so easy. This is probably one of the toughest racetracks or the easiest, I guess, racetrack to overdrive the race car. That means driving the car in the corner too deep, losing the front tires, trying to get to the gas too soon on corner exit and slipping the rear tires.
And this corner in 1 and 2 is completely different than 3 and 4. Down the back straightaway, driving into turn 1, kind of downhill just a little bit. Got to lift really early. Look for that yellow line. Got to get your left side right on that yellow line. Try to start accelerating. So that early turn is so important to get the car pointed so you can lay the rear tires down. If the car's leaving that corner straight, it helps you with rear grip.
Absolutely. In the braking zones of both corners, the cars usually tend to be extremely loose. You'll see him checking the rear end, meaning see him moving the steering wheel. That's kind of catching the back of the race car on corner entry and corner exit. See him checking the back of the car just a little bit there. Okay, keeping up with the rear tires, keeping the car from getting loose in, keeping the car from coming around, spinning out. Rolling center, the very middle of each corner, the physical center of each corner. The cars tend to be tight, and will get tighter as the weekend goes as we put more rubber down. You see him using the apron there.
And that's Kevin. Kevin loves running. If you watch this race tomorrow, he's going to be the lowest on the racetrack. He will be the first one to get below that yellow line. Sometimes all 4 tires below that yellow line. Other people seem to have a hard time making that work. Kevin was one of the first people I saw do it here.
Yeah, when you put the left front on that apron, it kind of takes wedge out of the car. It frees the car up, helps the car turn.
So you guys were talking about using the apron. I don't think there's a better view to show it than right here, the front bumper of Daniel Suarez. He's got to go down in. This is the banked ends, turn 3 and 4. You don't use the apron as much here. You can see the rubber below the yellow line where people have done it. But Junior heading down into 1 and 2, this is where this left front wouldn't be shocking to see it below the yellow line.
Yeah, this is mounted on the left front of his car. So if we go below that line, that means, yep, see there, he's got the left front tire on that apron. You drift back up and diamond this corner. That's called a diamond when you come up, drift up in the middle of the corner and then drive back off the corner.
And a lot of people do that differently. You see down here in turn 3, he's going to get that left side. Don't want to cross that line because it's a huge banking change over there. It's actually too much to use it to be effective. But you can see he's not using that apron yet. Nobody really is on the front straightaway. But interesting to me, see how he drives in, leaves, now he turns back and never really gets back to the bottom as opposed to what we saw Kevin doing. Kevin crossed that line and just stayed there. Moved more of a constant radius. If you can get your car to do that, get it turned into the middle like that, it's a huge advantage. But you're asking a ton out of your car to make that rotation.
Rick, second day, we got all the corner numbers right that time. We're figuring out this
Tuesday night. You can't miss the new music competition show that's all about country. Shania Twain, Travis Tritt, and Jake Owen are searching for America's next country music superstars. That's Real Country. Premieres Tuesday at 10, 9 Central on USA Network. And let's hand it back over to the drivers.
So one of the things about this racetrack, Junior, is I think there's a way to make lap time, and there's a way to get your car to drive to race. And a lot of what I paid attention to here when I've had success is the exit of this corner. So as we're watching this screen, just pay attention to how people attack the exit. Some people are up the racetrack. Just the reference to the yellow line. You know, the lower you can leave what is now turn 4, the better you can race, the better your car can pass, the better you can defend. Now, that might be better lap time to use some racetrack on corner exit, but how are you ever going to pass somebody, and how are you ever going to keep from getting passed if you have to make lap time by leaving the corner high?
Absolutely. I talked about it earlier in practice how guys are going to continue to get tighter and tighter in the middle of each corner. So if your car's tight there, you're going to have a wider exit. That means you're going to be losing lap time. You're going to watch these guys that are actually good. They're going to continue to turn and come off lower. Those are the cars that'll be good tomorrow.
That's, to me, you know, we just talked about Kevin Harvick versus Suarez in 3 and 1 and 2, where Harvick was asking his car, he was demanding his car to be able to roll the bottom. Now, when you're talking to your crew chief, you're asking him to give you a lot. It's much easier to go in, dime in the corner, then turn and leave low. It's easier for your car to do that, but can you race as well? So you got a demand of your car, a demand of your team. This is what I got to do if we want to win this race.
Absolutely. If you move up the racetrack and that guy's wrapping that apron like the 4-car was, he's just gaining time on you every time he does that.
Clint Boyer is currently 11th for a lap. He's been out there for 29 laps. And we showed you when we went away from break how everyone is stacking up as far as averages, because that's what they're focused on now. They're not worried about a lap. They're working more on how can I keep this speed for a long run. Parker.
And Rick, it was actually interesting. His crew chief, Mike Bugarevich, just came across the radio about 2 laps ago in this run and said, ooh, those O's are really good. And what he meant was he was doing 27 O's. And the only other car I see on here that's even close to that was Larson, who's up in second and only 15 laps on the board. So that 14 car seems to be finding a little bit of long-run pace here. He just slipped into the teens a little bit in those last 2 laps, a 16 and a 19, but pretty quick there for the long run.
It's funny. So you were mentioning where the 14 was on the single lap. And I brought him up on our little line graph we showed you earlier, all the different drivers. And I was thinking exactly what Parker just said, that Clint Boyer doesn't impress me for 8 or 9 laps, but you get out there in the teens, and he holds on really, really well. And Jeff, you have to wonder, you guys talked about, you know, how the cars exit, and it's not always about lap time. And Clinton is one of those drivers that I think he knows what he needs, right? So he might be running a little tighter line. It might hurt him on new tires, but that may be why it looks good on older tires.
Yeah, I think that it's great to have a long-run car, but we talked earlier in this session about how critical and crazy the restarts are going to be. To have that grip, to be able to be aggressive and go and have the car that's going to turn and grip on those first 3 or 4 or 5 laps can be incredibly important tomorrow.
And I think what's going to be as important as the car is the driver and his willingness to get out of his comfort zone in this area of the racetrack. You're going to have to block. You're going to have to do things that you would not normally do on a restart on a short track. You're just going to have to do it. And in Clint Boyer's case, he's got to win. So he's got to approach every restart as I got to pick up spots. I can't lose spots. Watch for contact. Watch for things happening because there's no other choice. Clint Boyer cannot enter this race and have a restart and lose 5 or 6 spots thinking he's going to make them back up quickly. Guys like Clint have to go into this race full kill mode right from the green flag.
Must-win situation for Clint Boyer. And as we go to break, let you know that average-wise, Kyle Larson's still up there. When we come back, they're going to be practicing restarts. So the caution will come out Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series practice from Phoenix, as drivers will now go to work on restart practice. We'll see how many will take advantage of that. And we were just listening into Clint Boyer's radio, and this is what Spotter had to say.
It looked like last night if you were up front, the top launched better. You know, you either wanted to be first up top or like second on the bottom and be able to fan out.
So the problem with that information is that, yes, the top may launch better, but if you're third, it gives you the ability to fan out. So that means if you're on the top, you can expect to be 3 wide on the top getting into turn 1. So I'm not really sure if that's what you want to do or not.
Exactly what we saw last night in the truck race with Noah Gregson on the final restart. And the guy that won the race was in third place. So I'll be interested, though, to see how the Cup cars use that apron in 3 and 4 on restarts. Will they get that low and be that aggressive that we saw in the truck race last night? And we'll also see some opportunities to figure that out in the Xfinity race today.
I think they're going to have to. Yeah. I think you're going to have to defend. Even it only takes one,
yeah.
Right? One person does it, and if you don't do it, you're going to wish you had it because you're going to lose that spot.
I don't think we'll see it on the long run. But with the pace being slower because the restart is now over here on the dog leg, the pace being slow through 1 and 2 through the first trip through there, those guys probably will use that. Let's look at this restart right here.
Yeah, side by side.
These guys are working together to do this.
That's something you never see. Oh, it turns out better than Indy did last year.
Apparently Martin was the control car there.
Right, so Truex and the 18 have decided to go out there and have restarts together, both swapping probably the high and the low side to see which one works better.
You know why I like that, guys? Restart by yourself is relatively simple, right? I mean, trying to judge it off another car, that's when it gets to be an issue for his wheel spin and really trying to aggress.
9-11 doing the same thing.
This is interesting, the teams working together. Even manufacturers working together.
See what Chase did right there?
Look at this, yes.
And that drug the 11 down to him. So if you don't, if Denny Hamlin stays up high, then what the 9 has done is Chase Elliott's just shortcutted. He's made a straighter line. So Denny Hamlin had to do the same thing.
Here we got 3 guys.
See the wheel spin from the 24, William Byron.
This is much more interesting than I anticipated. I didn't think that these guys are organizing. I mean, this is pretty unusual. You know, this is something we see at Talladega or Daytona for drafting and so forth. Rarely, look, Trick says he's had enough. I figured out what I need to know.
It's interesting because, you know, you're working with your competitor. Are you teaching your competitor something?
Guys, isn't this a little ironic? This is Chase Elliott and Denny Hamlin. Those two got into each other, didn't like each other at all after Martinsville last year. Now they're working together.
Yeah, making amends.
Well, I mean, they're going to have to start next to each other at some point, so you might as well figure it out.
It's a great bonding experience for these two.
Remember they did hit at this racetrack last year as well. A bonding experience.
Making friends in practice. Parker, what you got going on, bud?
Man, I'm down here. I'm watching these restarts go down, and, you know, it's in the corner. And one thing I'm noticing, it's like every other car, and especially the outside car, is struggling to hook up. I've seen a lot of wheel spin out of the outside lane right now. Every time. It's just the 6 of Matt Kenseth. Here we got the 11. Let's see what he does.
How about this? 4 of them.
Oh!
Tight on you.
The 9 spun a little bit there.
He's on the apron. 48 on the apron. 3 by 2.
It's, you know, as we hear the spotters, it's practice for the drivers and the spotters, right, Jeff? They're trying to figure out, they're kind of driving away. The spotters are down here in the middle of turns 3 and 4, so as the cars drive into turn 1, they're driving away from the spotters.
You know, this is fascinating that they're all working together to try to figure this out. You know, this just isn't something we normally see. Competitors working together in practice.
5 in.
So in the race right here,
Still up there.
that's what you're going to see. And if Denny Hamlin doesn't do that, the guy behind him's going to do it.
They're clear.
That's the furthest we've seen anyone dive down. That was really almost onto pit road or pit road exit that he got his left side tires after that launch.
Well, I can tell you one thing. If it's this exciting to have 3 cars do it, it's going to be great to see 40.
This will continue on. We'll take a quick break. Be right back for more restart practice between us. And another beautiful day out here in the desert of Avondale, Arizona at ISM Raceway. Restart practice continuing for the Monster Energy Cup Series. Seeing some drivers work together. Different lines, everyone trying to test what will be the best line for starts and restarts.
So what we haven't seen is the aggression that's going to happen going into turn one. Joey Logano right there, that was the first guy that went all the way around 1 and 2.
On the apron.
Yes, on the apron and running at speed. Everybody else drove into turn one and just kind of stopped. They were working on restart practice. Well, a restart is from the launch all the way around back to the start-finish line in my eyes. And Joey Logano, he just showed us what we're going to see tomorrow.
And Jeff, one thing I've noticed down here is that initial launch portion, it looks like the inside lane is the dominant lane right now. I know it's practice, but if we compare that to the truck race last night where the outside lane seemed better. But as you just said, I wonder if once you get past towards turn one and the side drafting starts, if that inside lane becomes less dominant because of the side draft.
Yeah, right now everybody's playing nice. Nobody wants to bend anything up. But tomorrow, and even this afternoon in the Xfinity race, that outside lane is not going to allow the inside lane to get 2 car widths away from them. They're going to try to be right on their door to slow them down. Or change the game completely.
Even at these slower speeds, that side draft on the restart, you're going to take advantage of it if it's even remotely helpful.
And it looks as though Chase Elliott has decided that he's done.
Check out these garages, these new garages. Look at the fans. I mean, they are in the garage. What a great concept. If you have a ticket, you can buy a wristband to get you into the garage area during the races, during practice. Great job here at Phoenix.
And the fans realizing that they're on camera. In the background there, watching a little debriefing going on between Chase Elliott.
Yeah, if you have a ticket to the grandstands, you have access to this area, and even during the race, you can go down into the pits, into the garage.
Actually,